listening to iHeartRadio for more Mike Rutherford and all your favorite artists.
Back once again, AD on the radio.
Two-seater flitter, it's you and the senorita. Whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme sayer. Running game like a cheater, I'm ballin' like Derek Jeter. Complete on the marathon, I mean the very last meter. Competition defeated, cause you're my voice is just sweeter. So come on, follow the leader, plus I got the dopest of sneakers.
Love. Love is the most important thing in the world. But baseball is pretty good too. Yogi Berra. How about you? I don't know where you're at with baseball at the moment, but as of right now, as we go live to do this, I don't know where you are and what time you're listening, but my New York Mets are one game away from the World Series. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I don't know about you, but there's very few external things that can make me happy. There's very few external things that can make me happy. And hopefully, if you're going through your life in the right way, there's very few external things that can make you happy either. Happiness is something that you work for, that you fight for, that you achieve on a daily basis. Happiness is a mindset, and it is the end result of your tireless efforts to live a happy, fulfilling life. That life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness thing, it's up to us to pursue it most of the time. And there's very few things that can make you happy. But yesterday I had a doozy of a day. Ever since I clawed my way to middle management in corporate America, I realized that middle management is essentially code for babysitting adults. And there are many skills that come into play when you are a manager at a company like the one I'm a manager at. But I got to say, the skill that I practice the most is restraint. And boy, was I practicing it yesterday. Boy, was I trying to figure out how to not tear someone's ever-loving head off. Just absolutely ridiculous, and I won't bore you with the details. But at the end of the day, what happened? The Mets won. The Mets won. And there I am alone in my studio, except for my dog Millhouse, who is wondering why I'm screaming and yelling at the TV at the top of my freaking lungs. And what a great postseason it's been as well. What a fantastic postseason it's been as well. It's just, I've had chills all October, and it hasn't been because of the weather. It's been amazing. Look, the Houston Astros kept the New York Yankees out of the postseason. Why is that significant? Well, it's the New York Yankees, and it's the Houston Astros. I mean, look, this whole postseason between the Astros, the Cubs, and the Mets, these are the people the people that are fans of these teams. We've had not a lot to be happy about over the past decade or so. So it really has been a fantastic October for the underdogs. Case in point, do you know that Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod of the Yankees, his salary is worth more than the entirety of the Houston Astros salaries combined. And they kept the Yankees out of the postseason. It's a beautiful poetic justice to that. It's fantastic. And the two teams that are facing off now, by the way, if my Mets lose to anyone, I would be happiest. I don't think I'd ever be happy, but I would be happiest if they lost to the Chicago Cubs. Because that's a team that's needed something good, needed something to smile about for a long time. And you know what? Now they've got it. But had the Mets not triumphed, the Cubs would be facing off against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Did you know that if you combine the salaries of the New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs, that figure That figure of the combined salaries of the New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs is $60 million less than that of the roster of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Two teams combined still $60 million less than the Los Angeles Dodgers salary. It's been a fantastic postseason for baseball. And it's funny because a lot of people have known me for a while. Like, I didn't know you were a Met fan. I didn't know. I was like, well, we've been friends for like 5 years or so. Yeah. Mets haven't been to the postseason in 9. So that's why you've never seen this side of me before. And I'll admit, I'm not, I played baseball growing up. But watching baseball regular season on TV, or even when you go to the game, I'll agree with you. It is one of the, it's not like hockey. It's not like soccer. It's not like any of those games that are nonstop, never-ending, continuous action in any way, shape, or form. It's stop-starty. It's slow, and I understand that people can find it a little tough to take. I get that. I really do. But in the postseason, where absolutely everything counts, every last pitch, every last run, every last error, every last play, it's just fascinating. So much hangs in the balance. I can't get enough of it. It's agony and ecstasy the entire time, and it's just fantastic. And it's one of the few things, like I said, the few external things that can make me happy. And I suppose, look, like I said, I'm not like this traditional old school watch every regular season game, follow stats, know exactly what's going on with every single player type of fans. For me, it comes from something a little deeper, a little bit more visceral. When I was a kid, I grew up in England. My family moved to England when I was like 7 years old. I had to leave my beloved dog Wilfer. I had to go to a strange country, and not only that, happened around Halloween. And I got there, I was like, well, at least I get Halloween, at least I get candy. No, they don't trick or treat in England at this time. This is when it was still considered to be a pagan holiday. So I got screwed out of delicious candy. I wound up in a cold, rainy, dreary country without my beloved dog. And the whole time I was there, my dad worked like crazy. He was doing what he was doing in the world of corporate oil law. And he was away like 200 days out of the year. Never really saw him. But when I did see him, our connection was baseball, going into the yard to play catch. And my dad was like his high school baseball team's star pitcher. And I love baseball. I love playing baseball. I don't know if I was that good at it, but when I started realizing that I had kind of an arm and I started being the pitcher on my little league team, I lived for those moments with my father where we'd play catch. And especially after he realized that I had an arm and that I could pitch, and that maybe there was a chance I was going to follow in his footsteps. Those times where I was outside playing catch with my dad, and I started bringing the heat. And he would call my mom. He would call my mom from outside of the house. Call my mom outside the house and be like, come and see what the boy can do. All right, fire it in there, son. And there I was. That was my connection with my father. That was my way to bond with him. That was my way to make him proud. Now, I don't want to paint my dad in such a light where it sounds like we didn't have other things. When I announced that I was going to bail on a college scholarship and go off in a tour bus because I just got a record deal and try and be a rock star, he couldn't have been more proud or more excited or more supportive of everything that I've done and everything that I've done since. But at that time, there wasn't a lot of time with Dad. And, well, baseball was something we could really connect on. And like I said, no prouder moment in a kid's life than when your dad calls your mom out to see what you can do. You can fire it in there. I'll never forget really winging a couple in there at high speed and watching him dance and jump up because, like, I don't know, maybe it connected in the thin part of the catcher's mitt and he was in some pain, but he actually had to shake it off a couple of times. And I didn't want to actively hurt my father, but the look of pride mixed with pain on his face as he realized that his kid could maybe pitch like he did back in high school was just something I'll never forget. That was my connection with my dad. And, well, if you wanted to watch baseball on TV in England, there weren't a whole lot of options because of the time difference. And you want to watch baseball games live. And, you know, I wasn't allowed to stay up, but I'll never forget being a child and being allowed to stay up for the 1986 World Series. And I was a kid, hadn't been to too many baseball games. used to go see the Rochester Red Wings, where my family, like my mom and dad, were from, Rochester in upstate New York. We'd go watch the Rochester Red Wings, or as they were affectionately referred to by the people of Rochester, the Dead Wings. And I loved that. I had a really good time with that. But my family was from New York. After Rochester, they were in New York City. And so I was a New York City kid. And my connection to my dad, being baseball, and my connection to America, which I just had been ripped away from being baseball. When the New York Mets made it to the World Series, it was a big deal. When the New York Mets made it to the World Series, it was a huge deal. And a lot of people look back at that series and regard it as the single greatest World Series of all time. And if it's not, well, that's conjecture, that's speculation, and it's up there. It's fantastic. But I'll never forget watching the Mets win the World Series in 1986 and me and my dad jumping around the house. Elated. I get goosebumps thinking about it right now. And therein lies my connection to the great game of baseball. And that has been getting me through some times where I'd just rather not be a participant in life recently. Just, everybody could just take a number and I'll deal with you later, is how I feel. But it's amazing. It's amazing how I feel horrendous. I feel horrendous for the people that are losing. Like, I went into that series with the Dodgers just hating the Dodgers and everything they stood for, especially after Chase Utley's dirty slide. But you know what? I couldn't help it. I remember waiting for the final game of that series. And there was no logic, there was no intelligence to it, but I was just sitting there reading the Wikipedia pages of the Dodgers and the Mets and looking for an answer to a question that I didn't even know I had. Trying to figure out something, trying to discern something, living my life on absolute pins and needles, and you just can't help yourself. The Dodgers, I mean, look, they're this, to me, kind of bloated, overly moneyed franchise that, when they do win, they win because they buy the best players. But watching Kershaw pitch is like watching an artist at work. And I wanted to hate this guy. Because he was all that stood between my beloved Mets and advancement. Just this insane pitcher. And, you can't. One thing that happened with the series is that I kind of almost sort of begrudgingly became a little bit of a fan of the Dodgers, specifically Kershaw, this kid from the wrong side of the tracks who pitches like you wouldn't believe, who's been married to the same woman for years. And when he's not being a baseball superstar, they're building orphanages for kids in Uganda. It's impossible not to love these guys. And I don't know. I don't know how you feel about football. I love the football season. It's good times. I enjoy it. It's fun. But to me, football is a game of chess played between two 50-year-old men. Everybody has more or less the same players on the board, the same pieces on the field. And it really is strategy. Strategy of how you're going to move your pawns, your rooks, your bishops across a football field in an attempt to win. That's kind of how I view football. You might view it differently, but to me, it's about that. But the sense of individual responsibility that each baseball player carries with them at all times, the personal skill involved in what it is they do, makes it not only a game that comes to fruition when a team performs well as a whole, but also requires on the will of the individual. Now, I don't know if you're able to get the same amount of joy out of this season, this postseason of baseball, but I want to tell you that I thank you so much for being part of my radio family and listening to me sound off about it. And out of superstition, I don't know if we're going to be talking about it again for a little while. But like the great Yogi Berra said, love is the most important thing in the world. But baseball is pretty good too. He also said that baseball is a game that is 99% mental and the other half is physical. Thank you for hanging out.
This is USA Headline News. I'm Melody Burkett. Rescue crews are on the scene of a collision between a light rail train and car in downtown Baltimore. The city's Office of Emergency Management says the collision happened at the Convention Center station near the Camden Yards complex, and there are people trapped. No word on any injuries just yet. House Speaker John Boehner is expressing confidence in Representative Paul Ryan, who recently said he'd be willing to take Boehner's place as Speaker.
He's a very good member. He works hard. He's very bright. And he has good relationships, I think, with all the wings of the party.
Yesterday, Ryan said he'd consider replacing Boehner, who indicated he'd resign from the post in Congress at the end of the month. However, Ryan said he'd only do so if he got the backing of certain groups, including the Conservative Freedom Caucus. Alabama Representative Mo Brooks says the caucus still supports Florida Congressman Daniel Webster to be the next speaker, but we'll talk to Ryan about the post. For the USA Headline News, I'm Melody Burkett.
Turn down that radio!
If you finally decided to address your hearing loss, the MD Hearing Aid Air is a medical-grade hearing aid that costs up to 90% less than traditional hearing aids. Designed by a Chicago doctor, the MD Hearing Aid Air has a sleek, nearly invisible profile. This digital hearing aid incorporates technology and features found in hearing aids costing thousands of dollars. The Air offers advanced noise reduction, making speech clearer and virtually eliminating annoying background noise. 3 environmental settings put you in control. You select the best setting for your location. Call 1-800-485-4408. Over 100,000 satisfied customers have already made the call. Call right now for our exclusive 45-day risk-free trial and get free shipping and a year's worth of free batteries, a $50 value. Call MD Hearing Aid at 1-800-485-4408. Satisfaction guaranteed. That's 1-800-485-4408.
That was trending.
This update is brought to you by TrueCar. Find the new car you want, see what others paid, and lock in guaranteed savings from TrueCar certified dealers. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Download the TrueCar app today. In postseason baseball, we're on the verge of a Royals-Mets World Series. Game 4, American League Championship Series. Royals rout the Blue Jays in Toronto 14-2. Alcides Escobar had 4 RBI. Lorenzo Cain had 3 driven in to lead the Kansas City offense. They now have a 3-1 series lead and can advance to the World Series for the second consecutive year with a win later today over Toronto. In Game 3 of the NLCS, the Mets beat the Cubs in Chicago 5-2. New York starting pitcher Jacob deGrom earned the win with 7 innings pitched. He gave up 2 runs on 4 hits with 7 strikeouts. Yoenis Cespedes had 3 hits, including 2 RBI, and Daniel Murphy homered in his 5th straight game, tying a Major League record. Mets lead the series 3-0. They can advance to the World Series with a win in Chicago today. I'm Eddie Garcia.
We are Fox Sports.
Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1971.
February, 4 months after her death, Janis Joplin's album Pearl is released and goes to number 1. The single Me and Bobby McGee also tops the chart. Bill Withers hits number 3 with the single Ain't No Sunshine from his debut album produced by Booker T. Jones. In March of 71, Carole King releases her first solo album and scores 2 number 1 singles, I Feel the Earth Move and It's Too Late. And UK progressive rockers Jethro Tull have a top 10 album on both sides of the Atlantic with Aqualung.
Running down his nose, greasy fingers smearing shabby clothes.
In April, the Temptations topped the charts with Just My Imagination, their 3rd number 1 and their 13th top 10 single. Three Dog Night have their 2nd number 1 single with Joy to the World. And the Rolling Stones album Sticky Fingers is released, including the number 1 single Brown Sugar.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1971. Coming up. iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mike Rutherford to discuss the art of songwriting.
I've learned one thing over the years is that actually you can't control it. You can't force it. You can't analyze it. You can't worry about it. You just go and have a good time and mess around, and then something comes along and you grab it. You know, it's something intangible. And if you try and make a program how to do it and do it better, you get lost. So it's like a free-form thing, which you can't control. You just let it ride or not ride. And if it's not working, then you just have a break. That's what I've learned.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Mike Rutherford and all your favorite artists.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race and that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want, when I want.
Is your computer working, Funkhauser? Is that a thing? Is it working for you? Yeah, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, today is the last day of the future. After today, the future is the past, right?
It's all over!
Today is Back to the Future Day.
Yeah, today's Back to the Future Day. Yep, it's, oh, come on, man!
We've got glitches galore today. But luckily we have an Irish person here with us to help us.
Why would a syndicated radio show that was broadcast out of a major market studio need a computer that could effing log in? I really, really feel like it would be excusable today, Funkhauser, to end somebody's life. Like, I think if I just, walked outside the door, the first person I met, I left as a bloody stain on the floor, and then people walked into the studio to see what I've been dealing with here. I feel like people go, those are extenuating circumstances. We can probably get it reduced to a lesser manslaughter charge. I would, you know what? I do the same thing, too. God. Freaking insane. Hold on. I'm going to try one more time with this piece
Just
of
be
crap.
careful because I am not in delay and I can't hit the beep button.
I'll keep it clean.
Beep, beep, beep.
Oh, maybe I've been fired. Maybe it's just
you can't log in? Well, that could be a thing.
Well, I was logged in, and then the entire thing crashed like the useless brick that it is.
We could call the emergency line. You want to do that?
The reference account is currently locked out and might not be and may not. Really? Really?
You can't blame it on Monday today, though.
No. You know what? Cool Green Forest. Serenity now! Let's just get on with the show. I'll do the show off of my freaking phone today. How's that? Is Shane there, ready to read the news now that I'm all happy, chipper, and ready to have a guest?
Oh, yeah, still happy to be here.
Oh, good.
Still happy to be here.
Yay. How's your, oh, by the way, if you're not familiar with his previous work, this is Shane the Irish Guy, one of Ireland's premier broadcasters. He had a little oopsie on the air and has been on forced sabbatical from his radio job, so we get him here every now and then. Right. How has your stay in Los Angeles been?
It has been fast. It's been a week of heat and traveling and driving lots and a very quick trip to San Francisco and back again over the weekend. But no, it's been great. It's been great.
Right. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear this. So let's.
You sound so happy for me.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm glad you're having such wonderful times on our fair shores. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Anyways, let's do some news.
Okay. So the first headline that we have is Star Wars fans, racist they are.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little later on in the show. There's
that's what we're calling today's show.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No. We'll get into that a little later on in the show. That's kind of a fascinating one, and thank you for reminding me that that's what we're going to be talking about on the show today, Shane Irish Guy, which is where you can follow him on Twitter, by the way, at Shane Irish Guy. There's a contingent of, as best I can tell, racist idiot Star Wars fans that are alleging that, that are alleging that the next edition of the Star Wars movies, the next editions of the Star Wars movies that are coming out are racist and promote genocide. We'll get into the whys and wherefores of this because it's a bit of a fascinating conundrum. We'll get into all of this in just a little bit. Right now, let's go on with the news. What is happening in the world, Shane?
Miley Cyrus wants to do a nude concert with the flaming lips where the audience gets sprayed by milk.
Yeah.
Milk?
Milk.
Yeah.
What kind of milk? One. Me wonders.
1%.
Semi-skimmed?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess like Miley Cyrus and the Flaming Lips have been working together off and on for a little bit, and this is the plan, to do a show with the Flaming Lips where everyone's naked. You're naked as the audience. The Flaming Lips are naked. Miley Cyrus is naked, and everybody gets sprayed by milk. I think it sounds great, except for the parts about Miley Cyrus, nudity, and milk.
She definitely won't be nervous because you know how they get people to think about the audience being naked as a way of overcoming your fear. So.
Oh yeah. Maybe that's. Yeah,
maybe it could catch on. You never know.
Can I go to the concert naked?
No, I think you're required. It's not. Can you? You are required to.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, like I said, sounds like a great idea, except for the parts about Miley Cyrus, nudity, and milk.
Yes.
Go on.
Justin Bieber may have trouble selling his album in Muslim countries.
Right.
Why is this?
Because he's a girl?
Well,
is it because of one of his tattoos?
He's shirtless on the cover, and you can see his cross tattoo. And also, Muslims have musical standards, so there's that as well.
Boom.
Go on.
Chrissy Teigen and John Legend.
Wait, hold on. Picturing something.
Hold on.
Okay.
I think we should do this. I think we should do this for Chrissy Teigen.
Her and John Legend are having a baby.
Yeah.
How
Chrissy
is this
Teigen and
news?
John Legend have successfully reproduced. They're having a baby.
Wow.
Whether it's a boy or a girl, one thing is for certain.
It'll be a baby.
I'll be jealous of it during feeding time. Oh, my God. Like, that's going to be one talented, good-looking baby. Like, it really is. John Legend is just a ridiculous, ridiculous talent, and Chrissy Teigen is notably, unbelievably easy on the eyes. Like,
that kid's gonna.
This kid will have a bit of a head start in life.
Yeah, and he's going to grow up hating everything else. Not up to my standards.
Yeah. Go on.
In a recent interview, Tom Brady was asked to name the best thing about his wife, Gisele Bündchen. Do we have a choice of what he might have said, or what could he?
Well,
can we guess?
I mean, based on his, you might not be familiar with.
He's football.
Do you know what's happened with Tom Brady?
I don't know.
Deflategate.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to guess that his answer was, ever since giving birth to their kids, her boobs are underinflated just enough for him to get the perfect grip.
I see.
Laugh along because you're not familiar with that. Shame. One last piece of news.
In a Mexican restaurant in Brooklyn will give any customer who can eat a 30-pound burrito in an hour 10% ownership of the business.
Yeah, customers going to have to decide if getting 10% of a restaurant is worth losing 100% of their colon.
Days like this when I feel untouchable, I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid, jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie.
iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on Bon Jovi. 1988's New Jersey hit number one in both the U.S. and in the U.K. and had two more number one hits in Bad Medicine and I'll Be There For You. The band mounted a massive tour of more than 22 countries and 232 shows, including a sold-out homecoming at Giant Stadium in New Jersey. Following 16 months of non-stop touring, Bon Jovi's members were exhausted, and the band went their separate ways in 1990 with no future plans. They worked out their differences and released Keep the Faith in 1992, but the album was a letdown from New Jersey, though Bed of Roses hit number 10 on the charts. In 1994, Bon Jovi had its first lineup change when bassist Such was fired from the band and unofficially replaced by Hugh McDonald. McDonald's first album was 1995's These Days, which hit number one in the UK and Japan, but was considered a disappointment in the US. Following the album's release, the members of Bon Jovi took a 2-year hiatus. All things Bon Jovi, info, music, and more are on iHeartRadio, keyword Bon Jovi. iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi stayed active through the 2000s and 2010s with their 10th studio album, 2007's Lost Highway, being their first number one debut. It also had more of a country sound after the success of the band's 2006 duet with Jennifer Nettles, Who Says You Can't Go Home, which hit number one on the U.S. country chart. John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora were both inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2009. Bon Jovi released their 12th studio album, What About Now, in 2013. A rift with Richie Sambora and John Bon Jovi resulted in Sambora leaving the band in spring 2013. All things Bon Jovi. Info, music, and more are on iHeartRadio. Keyword Bon Jovi.
Real radio. Real radio.
104.1.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you our musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you our musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
So I'm telling you, Funkhauser, I think I might be fired. My computer won't log in. It says, like, this account is locked. My key fob weren't getting me into the building this morning, but that might be it.
Yeah, I just tried to email you. Your name's not on the thing either.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yes,
You better steal all the pins today.
Yeah. Well, no, it would be fitting because, like, I can't tell you. I can't tell you how and why it happened, but you know how I said that practicing restraint when babysitting adults is the cornerstone of middle management in corporate America?
Yeah.
I did not practice restraint yesterday. I laid into someone, and they absolutely deserved it. But it is a little telling that I can't get into my company login.
Orlando,
today.
you see why we need to do shows 5 days a week? You see what happens?
Let's continue with the news while I still, before I become the news after I leave the studio and lay waste to everything and everyone in my path.
Doctors.
Go on, Shane, Irish guy.
Well, thank you, AD, American guy, English guy. Doctors have reported that Lamar Odom, who was found...
Hold on. Like, Shane, Irish guy's met me once before. Did you hear that laugh he did going into the news? That's officially a nervous laugh. He's like, and now in the news. Okay, go on.
Doctors have reported that Lamar Odom, who was found unconscious at a Nevada brothel, has now opened his eyes and he is making great progress and is conscious and communicating with
Progress.
people. Progress.
Yeah.
Progress is the middle name.
Progress.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's opened his eyes.
He's back in Los Angeles, apparently.
And judging by his choice of Kardashian, his eyes had been closed for a long time.
I don't understand.
He regained consciousness, immediately asked for a crack pipe after he saw he was surrounded by Kardashians. He was like, I'm going to need a hit off of this if I'm going to deal with... Okay, all right, go on. What else?
Oh, here's more great news. Paris Hilton got stuck in an elevator in China.
Yeah, did you see that? There's actually, like, security camera footage of her being stuck in this elevator in China. It's pretty entertaining stuff.
Did she freak
out? It's so hot in here. It's so hot.
It was one of those things where I saw the headline, didn't click on it because I was like, do I really need to spend time in my life reading Paris Hilton news? Probably not if I'm trying to evolve and do what's good for the species. I don't want to be complicit in the retardation of our society, so I'm going to not read the Paris Hilton news. But I do know it's noteworthy because, well, Paris Hilton getting stuck in an elevator marks the first time she's ever had trouble going down.
I would play that, but... Chrissy Teigen won today. I'm sorry.
Chrissy Teigen won today? Yeah, okay. Well, we only get one Karate Kid a show?
Well, today. Today it
what
feels
about
like
when I'm on En Fuego?
Are you in Fuego
now?
today?
Considering
this may be your last day, I guess we'll give
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. That's so giving of you. Please continue, Shane, Irish guy.
A coalition of Hispanic advocacy groups wants Donald Trump to be disallowed from appearing on SNL.
Yeah.
Even though it'd be huge.
I'm walking my dog the other day. And, sometimes you hear a little bit from the buildings around it in this little courtyard area where I take Millhouse for his daily spin. like 8:30 in the morning. The Trump impersonation is really becoming part of the societal zeitgeist at the moment, because like I'm walking my dog Millhouse at about like 8:15 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, and I hear coming from the windows of one of the buildings around the courtyard, someone going, "It's gonna be huge." I was like, it sounds like someone's getting a little bit of early morning hanky panky and using that opportunity to break off a Donald. Like, if you have the presence of mind to do a funny Donald Trump impersonation while you are getting Bobo honked on, then I salute you. And in my mind, that's exactly what was happening. It's gonna be huge. Go on.
2 more schools have taken back Bill Cosby's honorary degrees.
Yeah.
Still a doctor.
Latest in a long line of humiliating disgraces for the cause. The latest humiliating disgrace in a long line of humiliating disgraces. It's getting pretty bad for Bill.
It is.
Pretty soon when he hands a woman a drink, he won't be able to say, "Trust me, I'm a doctor."
Pretty soon.
If I had a computer that actually fired up, logged in, and worked, Funkhauser, I could play you the audio of Eddie Murphy doing his impersonation of Bill Cosby when he was accepting an award the other night. Did you catch that?
No.
I saw it all over Facebook, but I didn't see it.
There are curse words in it, Funkhauser. While we continue with the news, can you try and dig it up? Because there was a censored version. There's a censored version. Like, see if you to Google you go.
To Google.
And we're going to continue talking about what's going on in the news.
Tom
What up,
Brady
Shane,
is back in the news again. He went on a rant about how he feeds children crappy things like Coca-Cola and Frosted Flakes. He called Coca-Cola poison and said that Frosted Flakes aren't even food.
Yeah. Well, sounds like somebody thinks he's so great and healthy just because he's a world-class athlete with 4 Super Bowl rings. And, guess he is. Apparently, he just feels like our kids are a little bit overinflated.
That's sad.
Did you grow up eating junk food? Said he died of junk food, Shane, Irish guy?
No, I just do that now.
You just do that now?
Yeah, I drink lots of Coca-Cola and eat lots of chocolate, unfortunately.
You know, here's the thing about letting kids have that sort of stuff. Thanks to my hippie vegan parents and our upgrade, even before mom decided veganism was the way to go, there was no artificial color, no artificial flavor, no sugar, no chocolate. So it was like everyone else was eating delicious Kit Kat bars and things of that nature. And my mom was like, "Here, have some carob." I was like, "Not the same." It's just disgusting. Have some weird tasting chocolate substitute. It was hideous and horrendous. And, I wasn't allowed to have anything. And I think that's the absolute wrong way to go. You got to let kids have these things in moderation, because here I am, well into adulthood. Oh, by the way, I was rationed on television as well. So my upbringing involved no artificial color, no artificial flavor, no meat, no sugar, no chocolate, and 1 hour of television a week.
No fun for you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
Did you grow up in Soviet Russia?
Might as well have in a lot of ways. And, my mom wanted to raise a healthy kid that would grow up to be a healthy adult. And you know what? To this day, here I am, 35 freaking years old, and I still feel like a badass when I'm drinking a soda, eating Jolly Ranchers, and watching as much TV as I want to on a Saturday. I'm like, I can do whatever I want now, Mom. So it had the exact opposite effect. And I get what Tom Brady is saying about, Coca-Cola being poison and Frosted Flakes not necessarily having any nutritional value whatsoever. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful how you raise kids in terms of what you deny them, because you never know what sort of, and my sister is exactly the same way as well, by the way. Like, if we have something put in front of us that was something that we weren't allowed to have growing up, my sister was so determined to ingest sugar in any way, shape, or form she could when she was a kid. What she would do is she'd make a cup of tea, because we were allowed to have a cup of tea. Apparently, the restrictions did not extend to caffeine, which is probably the worst out of all those things for a growing child. It's like, have as much Thai food as you want, all the caffeine in the world. Let's mess up your sleep patterns and stunt your growth. That's okay, but don't have this chocolate bar. So, like, my sister developed this system whereby she would have a cup of tea, and then when my mom wasn't looking, she would go to like the area where all the baking stuff was kept. You know, there was like a little container for flour and a little container for sugar, and like she would scoop sugar into her tea till it was like mostly tea, and then just sort of like with a spoon eat the sugar under the camouflage of the tea. This is how desperate and clandestine our desire to have anything vaguely sweet got, because of the little sort of sugar fiend monster crackhead mentality that we developed thanks to the denial she enforced upon us as children. So, and my sister's the same way to this day, where, you know, both of us will talk about it. If we have junk food put in front of us, we have to shovel it in our mouth as fast as we can, because we don't know when we're going to be allowed to have it again, because mom might be looking, and it makes no sense. And we're adults, and we have our own lives, and we have our own money, and we have our own dietary restrictions that we place upon ourselves. But there's just this, our mom effed us up in this respect as a child. So as much as, you know, Coca-Cola and Frosted Flakes might not be the best thing for young minds, you got to be careful how strict you are with that sort of stuff. Because I would imagine, I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady's kids grew up to be 6 foot by 6 foot of chocolate and acne, being like, where's the Frosted Flakes, Dad? Yeah. You wear Ugg boots. You wear Ugg boots and run and are a great quarterback, but I just live for chocolate. That's how Tom Brady's kids are going to grow up, with those sort of restrictions placed on them, because that was me when I was 18. Chocolate.
That's what you sounded like?
Voice, too?
Yeah, when I was, you know what, that's as much air that could pass through my esophagus, because the rest of it was crammed full of Jolly Rancher and Kit Kat bar. Go on.
But
where do you
sorry,
really
I'm
go
lost.
from
I'm
there?
lost. Oh, here, Bill Belichick says that he hasn't been to
Spot the foreigner.
grocery store in years. I know what a grocery store is.
What did you say? Say that again.
Bill Belichick.
Belichick. Yeah, Belichick. Yeah,
so I just googled him, and I see that he's a football coach.
Yes, there you go.
And what does him not going to a grocery store have anything to do with anything?
Well, it's interesting. You know, to know about the lives of people that have massive effects on pop culture. And I think the very main reason that Bill Belichick doesn't go to grocery stores anymore is because, well, they don't carry the fresh blood of puppies. He's not a nice man. Go on.
A trailer for the new Star Wars movie debuted Monday night during Monday Night Football on ESPN. This has many Star Wars fans asking questions like, will this be as good as the original trilogy? How much will we see Han Solo? And what is football?
Yeah. Could not have been broadcast to a less appropriate crowd. All right. So let's talk for a second, if we may, about...
We literally have a second.
We literally have a second.
2 minutes there. Yeah.
Let's talk for a second, if we may, about... No, we can't. No, forget it. No,
we can take a break and do it again in a couple of minutes and do it the next time.
Yeah, maybe the next time. All right, we'll discuss the fact that there are white supremacists saying that Star Wars is racist. The next edition of Star Wars is racist. There's a hashtag on Twitter, hashtag boycott Star Wars 7, and they're saying that A, it's racist, and B, it promotes white genocide. Now, I love this because, well, this is another sign that God hates racist. The sale for the tickets to go see Star Wars 7 started the other night. And the number of tickets, their boycott's not doing a whole hell of a lot because their boycott's not doing a whole hell of a lot because, well, online sellers like Fandango were absolutely crashing when the tickets to go see the next edition of Star Wars went on sale. Basically, the whole thing is this. These racist idiots, they started this hashtag, boycott Star Wars 7, because they think Star Wars The Force Awakens is anti-white. And apparently because one of the main characters is black. One moron is saying that, like I said, it promotes white genocide. Now, what would Yoda say in this situation? Idiots you are. Reproduce. You should not. We might be back tomorrow. Who the hell knows around here?